Time on the track.
Now, actually, it wasn't even a concert that I went to for me. Like, I wasn't even really performing. That was the event that my family, our entertainment company threw out there in Slidell, and there was a couple artists that my mother wanted me to check out, and I came there basically as a special guest. And, you know, something happened, and a young man lost his life, and I did the time for it.
Right. So to the fans, it was like, where Mac at? Like me, like
right.
Woke up the next morning and Mac was gone. How it was, or what was going through your head the very first day when you landed in jail?
Well, what's weird is I always felt that I was gonna get out because I knew I was innocent.
Right.
You know what I mean? So from day one, it was just more of like, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna get out, or the next day I'm gonna get out. You know what I mean? Because when you know your hands clean, you ain't really, I never really gotten that mode where I'm here, I got to do this time. It was always like, all right, something is gonna happen. Karma is gonna bring, the good karma gonna come back around, and I was gonna get out. So that was pretty much what kept me focused on, my ultimate goal, which was freedom. But even the first night that I was in there, man, it was like, okay, tomorrow they're gonna let me go. You know what I mean? They're gonna find out what's going on and let me go. But that tomorrow turned into 21 years.
Right. When you realize, like, damn, man, because that's do it got multiple people in there wrongly convicted from your state? Like, what's the percentage of the people who in there that been wrongly convicted? Like, this some normal shit? Because you was convicted bad and did 21 years. So there's a lot of other people like that in there.
I will say this, because I don't like to state nothing unless it's a fact. So because I don't have the facts, I'm gonna give you my perspective as far as from my experience. I believe that there are a number of guys, that are incarcerated for crimes that they either didn't do or they were given too much time for the crime. Like the time they were given exceeded, the crime or whatnot. I have friends that's like a friend of mine who was charged with robbery, when it really was a theft. And he was multi-billed and given like 40 years for stealing something out of a store. But because he was a multiple offender, the time was, he was multi-billed, and they did that. So I kind of look at those situations in the same light as if I would as people who were innocently convicted. And there are guys in there that's basically in there for crimes they didn't do. And I'm an example of that.
For sure. Like I was telling you at the beginning, like when I was in DC, I used to bump that Shell Shock. Mm-hmm. And it used to be like to the point to where that shit getting me through the days, just some of the shit that you're talking about, but it's really resonating to me. I'm like, damn, I'm listening to a person that's getting me through my time and they doing time. Right? So was it by you being in Hunts and in Winfield and I'm somewhere else, was it people right then and right there with you, like getting through their time, listening to your shit, like in the flesh where you at? Like I was doing that, but I was in another jail. But it had people on the tin, on the dome, and in the jail listening to you while you right there in the flesh.
Well, yeah, I mean, different little camps I went to. I remember the first night in Winfield. Some younger brothers was in the back of the dome, like listening to World War III when I was walking in with my bag in my hand. And when they're like, yo, you know what I mean? So it happened. But what's weird is I didn't listen to my music when I was incarcerated. And I don't know if it's just something I did even on the streets. I didn't listen to my music too much. I listened to it before it was released because, I'm trying to perfect it. I'm trying to make it right and make sure it's perfect. But once I'm complete and I'm done, it's no longer mine, it's for the people. So I just, once I give it away, then I move on and I start creating some more. But it was humbling to hear the little brothers still listen to it with me there. Of course, you know, once they got to know me, it was like, I ain't gonna be listening to this fool music while he's sitting up in here, you know what I mean? But it was humbling, and I was glad that, you know, they told me similar stories, like they said, man, it got me through. And that's what it's for. That's what we do it for, you know. The music is for the people.
Right. What you missed the most when you caught your time and you was doing your time, but that one thing that you missed the most, like, man, I gotta get out of here.
Raising my son. And it was hard for me because my dad basically taught me most of everything I know. So I couldn't really imagine what my son was going through. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of hard because I didn't know how he was feeling. I didn't know what it was like to be a fatherless child, you know, and so what I did in response is I started mentoring young men while in the prison because I wanted to be something for them, you know, and in some selfish way, it was my way of trying to raise somebody's kid, even if it wasn't my own.